I'll be going over the Umpire process for the clusters of activity problem. So the problem says you have a new job at the Center for Disease Control as a data analyst. Your job is going well when your boss comes in and says, "We have a problem. All of the other CDC centers are shut down due to some kind of disaster. No one can communicate with anyone else from the CDC. You're not sure what's going on, but your boss says we've got some kind of outbreak. We need to figure out where the epicenters are. Write a function that accepts a 2D plane as a dictionary. The dictionary represents a segment of the map and it contains map coordinates as keys and a count of outbreaks in the area's values. The map may be huge, which is why we're using a dictionary because most of the map will be zeros otherwise. Find the center of the outbreak. The center is defined as the average of all points, but treat each case as one data point. For example, if there are 10 reports in one location, add that location to the average 10 times. Round to the nearest integer values but return as a string xy. So we have this first example, given the input as reported outbreak. So we have the location 55, and then 10 is the number of reports in that location. 56, 8, 54, 8, 45, 8, 46, 8, 66, 7, 658, 448, 344, 332, 672. And the output that we want is the center is 55. Okay, so I haven't seen this problem before working on this, but I have worked on this problem. So I have worked on this problem recently. So we want to find the center. So we're going to have to keep track of the x and y of each key, and also add that to the number of and then add that to the number of reports that we get from each location. Okay, so first one I want to do is create a variable to keep track of the x numbers. So we're gonna have to convert them to numbers, but I'll work on that later. But so we want to keep track of the x values and store that in a variable. So I can just name it sum x equals 0. And then we also want to keep track of the y variables, sum y. So sum y equals 0. And then, so we have the reports for each location. So I'm just going to give total reports. I'm going to name the variable total reports, and that's going to be 0. Then from here, we want to iterate over the dictionary. So I'm going to have a loop. So for key value and matrix.items. So this is our loop. I want to store the x variables in a variable and convert them into an integer. So x equals int key key dot split. So we're going to split over the comma and get the first part of the get the x variable from the pairs. So key dot split 0. Then we get the y. So we do the same thing, but we use a different number for the subscript operator. So key dot split. Then we get 1, that gives us the y variable. Then from here, we want to add those variables to our total sum. So we get sum x equals x, and then we have to multiply it by the number of reports. So I could just say, instead of value, I could put for reports, maybe something for key reports. So x times reports, and sum y equals y times reports. And then from there, we're also keeping track of the number of reports for each pair, for each area. So we want to add that to total reports. Total reports plus equals reports. Okay. And then from here, we want to divide the x and y values by the averages. And we want to get the averages for the x and y values, so we'll do that by dividing it by the total number of reports. So, so we'll have sum x equal, and then we can use round so we can get the correct number, correct average, and find the center of the breakout, so of the outbreak. So we can use round x divided by total reports, and then we can do the same thing for our sum y variable. And this gives us the average for both x and y. It's round y divided by total reports. Okay, then from here we just want to return the center of the outbreak as a string. So we can just return, and then we want to convert sum x to a string. So we have sum x plus sum y. Okay, and then I think this should work. So we have sum x equals 0, sum y equals 0, total reports equals 0. Then we iterate over the matrix. Then we store the x variables in an integer. And we use split to get the x variable of the pair. Then we use y to use split to also get the y variable of the pair. We store it in y, and we add it to the current sum of our x and y variables by multiplying it by the reports. Oh, this should be plus, I think, so plus. And then total reports plus equals the current reports that we're looking at for the area. And then we do this for each element in the dictionary. Then after getting every x, y variable and report, we round that, or we're not getting in sum, right? So we're getting the average, so we're just doing something like probably like average x. And I used x here, so there should actually be sum x. And then right here should be average y, or something similar. And then we do sum y. And then right here we want to change the variables also. So average x plus average y. Okay, and I think this should work. Let's see. Nice, so we got it to pass. And that's my Umpire process for clusters of the clusters of activity problem. Thank you.